What happens when private family tensions explode in a room full of cameras? What begins as a quiet conversation about parenting quickly spirals into one of the most unforgettable clashes in Kardashian history. Kourtney Kardashian, fiercely protective of her 3 children, and Scott Disick, the outspoken father who refuses to hold back, suddenly find themselves face to face with Corey Gamble, Kris Jenner's longtime partner, in a showdown no one saw coming. Words cut sharper than knives, tempers flare, and in the center of it all lies a single question. Who really knows what's best for the Kardashian kids? This isn't just another family disagreement, it's a raw, unfiltered moment where love, loyalty, and pride collide in front of the world. I was there, seated only a few feet away as the tension built like a storm about to break. The air inside the luxurious Calabasas home felt heavy, thick with unspoken frustrations. Kourtney sat rigid, her signature neutral-toned outfit perfectly in place, but her eyes betrayed a simmering fury. Scott Disick leaned back, deceptively casual, but his jaw tightened with every passing second. And then there was Corey Gamble, calm yet unyielding, his words carrying the weight of someone who believed he was absolutely right. This wasn't just a clash of opinions, it was a collision of egos, each one determined to protect their own definition of family. The night began innocently enough. Dinner plates clinked against the polished marble table as laughter from the children echoed faintly down the hall. But when the topic of discipline came up, the mood shifted. Corey, leaning forward with an air of quiet authority, suggested that sometimes a little physical discipline, a spanking, as he put it, might be necessary to teach kids respect. The word spanking hung in the air like a live wire. Kourtney's eyes widened, her body stiffened, and Scott froze mid-bite. What followed would ignite a conversation that still reverberates among Kardashian fans today. Kourtney, known for her gentle and holistic parenting style, immediately bristled. Her voice, usually soft and deliberate, sharpened with unmistakable conviction. "I would never," she said, her words slicing through the room. "I would never spank my kids. That's not how I parent." Scott, who often plays the role of provocateur, unexpectedly aligned with her. He pushed his plate aside and locked eyes with Corey, his tone suddenly serious. "That's not cool, man," he said, his voice low but firm. "We don't do that." In that instant, the boundaries were drawn. Kourtney and Scott united, Corey standing his ground, and the rest of the family caught in the crossfire. Corey didn't flinch. He leaned back, his calm demeanor masking an undercurrent of defiance. "Sometimes kids need to learn," he replied, his words measured but loaded. "If a kid acts out, you show them consequences. That's how they respect you." His belief in traditional discipline clashed violently with Kourtney's philosophy of gentle guidance and emotional understanding. The room seemed to shrink as their voices grew sharper. Kris Jenner, ever the family matriarch, sat quietly at first, her eyes darting between her daughter and her partner, torn between loyalty and love. I could see the storm gathering in Kourtney's eyes. This wasn't just about a single comment, it was about the very core of her identity as a mother. Her voice trembled, not with fear, but with an almost primal protectiveness. "You don't touch my kids," she said, each word deliberate and icy. Scott added fuel to the fire, leaning forward with a sudden burst of intensity. "No one lays a hand on my children," he declared, his trademark sarcasm replaced by a rare seriousness. For a man often known for his jokes and jabs, this was a line he would not let anyone cross. The argument grew more heated. Corey raised his voice slightly, insisting that discipline was part of love, that children needed to understand limits. But Kourtney refused to back down. Her tone hardened into a declaration of autonomy. "These are my kids," she said, "and I decide how they're raised." The words echoed across the room, sharp and final. Scott nodded in agreement, his eyes fixed on Corey, as if daring him to challenge their united front. As I watched, it became clear this clash wasn't merely about parenting methods. It was a confrontation of values, a battle between old-school discipline and modern, mindful parenting. Corey represented a worldview rooted in traditional authority, while Kourtney championed a philosophy of emotional connection and gentle boundaries. Scott, often unpredictable, found himself firmly in Kourtney's camp, his own childhood wounds perhaps shaping his fierce opposition to any form of physical punishment. The dinner table became an arena where generations of beliefs collided, each side unwilling to concede. Kreese finally broke her silence, her voice calm but tinged with urgency. "Let's not do this," she pleaded, attempting to diffuse the tension. But it was too late. The lines had been drawn too deeply. Kourtney's eyes never left Corey's, her posture rigid with defiance. Scott sat back, arms crossed, his loyalty clear. Corey, though outnumbered, refused to retreat, his expression unshaken. This wasn't a debate to be neatly wrapped up in a single evening hit. It was a fracture that would linger long after the cameras stopped rolling. As the night wore on, the room grew quieter, but the tension never truly dissolved. The children's laughter, once a soft backdrop, now felt distant, almost haunting. Kourtney excused herself, her voice clipped, and Scott followed moments later, leaving Corey and Kreese in a heavy silence. Corey exhaled, his calm exterior cracking just slightly. Kreese reached for his hand, but her eyes betrayed a storm of conflicting emotions: mother's instinct to protect her child and a partner's loyalty to the man she loves. Outside, in the cool night air, I caught a glimpse of Kourtney and Scott talking in hushed tones. Their words were private, but their body language said everything. They stood united, a rare moment of solidarity between two people whose relationship had often been defined by turbulence. For Kourtney, this wasn't just about parenting, it was about reclaiming control, about making sure no one, not even someone as close as Corey Gamble, could dictate the way she raised her children. Days later, the fallout continued. Social media buzzed with heated debates. Fans took sides, some applauding Kourtney and Scott for standing firm against what they saw as outdated parenting methods, others defending Corey's belief in discipline. The clash between Kourtney, Scott Disick, and Corey Gamble over parenting comments became more than a family squabble. It became a cultural flashpoint, sparking conversations about how we raise the next generation. In the end, no winner emerged. Kourtney remained steadfast in her approach, Scott continued to voice his support, and Corey, though unrepentant, quietly stepped back from the conversation. But the tension left a mark, an invisible scar on the fabric of the Kardashian family. Behind the glamorous photos and carefully curated moments lies a reality as messy and complicated as any family's. As I left that night, the image that stayed with me was not the argument itself, but the silence that followed her, silence filled with unspoken truths and unresolved questions. In the world of the Kardashians, where every moment is scrutinized, this clash revealed something raw and undeniably human: the fierce love of parents, the stubbornness of conviction, and the fragile balance of a family forever in the public eye. Kourtney and Scott Disick's clash with Corey Gamble over parenting comments was more than a heated dinner conversation. It was a defining moment, a reminder that even in a family accustomed to the spotlight, the most powerful battles are fought not for fame or fortune, but for the hearts and futures of their children. And as the cameras rolled and the world watched, one thing became unmistakably clear when it comes to the Kardashian kids. Kourtney and Scott will defend their choices to the very end.